Welcome to Florida Mint on Florida Man with Josh Mills and Wayne McCarty, the podcast where Floridians discuss the legends and lore and crazy stories that always seem to take place in Florida. Now, when Batman returns, there's this whole thing, right? He goes missing for a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
There's a spotlight that people miss him. It's been kind of the vibe here in the studio with Jordan Blaylock. Now you're back tonight, Jordan.
Yeah.
Were you happy?
Shine a light up in the air of
Right.
Alabama.
Yeah, like were you happy with the welcome you got tonight? You know,
100%.
from the crew.
It's always great being back. You know, that's what's so genuine about it is like, you know, there's no rehearsing. There's no, and again, I don't know how fluid other podcasts are, but there's no rehearsing. It's just me getting up here and talking to friends.
I'd say more fluid.
Yeah, I think we're more fluid than most podcasts.
Yeah.
But
We're
strangely,
very gender fluid.
we are, and
Yeah.
but we also asked you to rehearse. So I think finding out live that you didn't rehearse is kind of upsetting.
Well, I stopped after that whole, whenever they've caught me in Silence of the Lambs, tucking it. And
Oh,
then
yeah, that's
rehearsing
right.
my lines
Yeah.
into
Well, that's
the mirror.
because you were in front of the theater and not on the screen. You weren't the actor.
Yeah, they called the
you
cops
just
on
ran
you.
in front of
Yeah,
the
they called the
theater.
cops on me.
with
Would
mugs and movies.
I'd kiss me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what he says.
Yeah, I had to censor that. I actually saw Silence of the Lambs for the first time in Atlanta. Myself and brother Jesse and Josh showed us that movie for the first time. I'd never seen it.
Really?
I had never seen it,
Yeah.
and I watched it in bed in Atlanta. And I will say, it's great.
It's
You
great.
know a movie's good when Jodie Foster can be nominated for any award.
What does that mean?
Sure.
She's bad. Like we were
Well-
watching Titanic. We were rewatching Titanic.
I
the
don't know
other
if
night,
she's in Titanic.
And my wife was like, "Man, this movie's great." And I was like,
Okay.
"Leonardo and My Heart Will Go On carried that movie."
Okay.
Because Kate
Beyond.
Winslet's a terrible actress.
Wow.
So
Big-
Jodie
big
Foster,
jump there.
Kate Winslet.
Yeah.
Give me one more
Another
actress
female actress
that you
hate.
don't like.
Another female actress.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
No, Charlize Theron.
Really?
Terrible.
Wow,
Terrible
did
to
you see
me.
Eon Flux?
I just watched Mad Max Fury Road last night.
See, she just wasn't good in it. That was Tom Hardy was good in that movie. And the
Devil's
bad guy.
Advocate? Hello?
And then
She
you
was
look at her
wonderful
in
then,
Hancock. Why does Hancock not get more love? That was such a good movie. Will Smith, he's like that
It
drunk.
broke ground. You know, it was a groundbreaker.
I will
Of a
say,
evil,
I've only
like,
seen it one time.
superhero, Yeah.
I've only seen it one time. The concept's really good, but I also
I think
remember.
it's alcoholism. That's the problem.
Yeah, I remember being triggered by it.
Yeah.
But I was just gonna say, I also remember that it went through a bunch of extensive like rewrites, and I think
Oh,
that there
really?
were some problems at the end or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I think initially there wasn't a happy ending in that
No,
movie.
there was multiple endings.
I think it was supposed
maybe
to be-
one too many. Like I think there were like 3 or 4.
I
Yeah.
feel like they should show them. Like, okay, I watched the movie. I paid for it. Give me the ending, and then give me the credits,
That's
and then show me all the
such a
other
great
ones.
idea, dude.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
such a great idea. Like when the credits end, instead of a mid-credit scene, this is how it could have gone.
Yeah.
And then Charlize Theron flies away,
Yeah.
and Tommy Hardy comes in.
That's
Uh-oh.
good.
That'd be cool.
That's
Yeah.
good. He's good. Anything he does, I'm a fan of. He's really good.
My favorite actor.
Rock.
And even when he's like low key
Yes.
stuff, like when he was in Inception, he didn't have a big role, but he was good.
He had that one line, "Dream a little bigger, darling."
You watch Peaky Blinders?
I don't watch it.
He's great in it. You should watch it though.
It's just
Yeah.
people doing this. Huh?
Peaky.
Yeah.
not
and
around
then
your
looking through
not around your
blinds.
gamma, but
No, I won't.
no,
My gam.
your game, yeah.
All right.
Uh-oh. Somebody's got headlines loaded up. I like this.
I'm not Ryan. I'm not going to give you one guy.
Dude,
off the
Ryan
dome.
comes in
One
here.
guy walked into a bar, the other guy walked in headline. Like I can't remember that.
Yeah.
We deserve to name
just-
shame these people.
He just said a lady shot kids. And I'm like, I guess I'll fill in the rest.
Bro, I was editing it today.
Yeah.
That guy had some gold lines, man. At one point in time, he
Yeah.
goes, I'm talking about the cruise ship.
Oh.
And he goes, yeah, it was sad, man. Sitting in my room with a busted knee. And he goes, my wife was real sad. She would go downstairs every night. Found out later on she was crying. And then we were like, oh, that's sad, man. He goes, yeah, she probably cheated on me.
That was a good line.
And
What?
Josh goes, why would you say that? And he goes, I don't know.
He has such good delivery.
It was great,
It
man.
was a good episode. But I went home and told Nicole everybody's cruise stories, and they were pretty good.
Cruises are
Y'all
wild.
what
Yeah.
was yours? Yours was
Chocolate milk.
That was good. That was the bill was good. And then what was yours? Yours
I
was
got hexed.
you was playing
He
basketball.
got
Yeah,
hexed by
You had to pay
true
the
story.
gypsy.
Bahamian.
Yeah. I went on a tour, and then they go, here's a trinket. And I'm like, thank you. And then the tour kept going. I didn't know it was like a trinket where you got to pay.
Oh yeah.
where they give it to you for free, and then you got
And
to
then
pay.
5 minutes later, they like
Yeah.
tap you on the back.
And so I'm playing b-ball, and then I start getting chafe, and I start missing like threes. And I'm like, something's going on. Something's
Something's
fishy.
not right.
That's when
Yeah.
you know you're missing.
Yeah.
And then I go back on tour with another group of friends, and I'm like, this tour is great. And then we had the same driver, and I'm like, hey man, was I supposed to? So I got something weird going on downstairs. What's up? And he's like, you got hexed by that lady you took trinket from.
Because he didn't pay.
Yeah.
Well, dude, what's funny is in that episode, I said we agreed we went on a cruise ship together. And I go, oh yeah, I love that, South America. And he goes, Bahamas.
Yeah, that's where we went.
I never know. People always ask me. I'm a gold member on cruises. We really do. We go on a lot, and people are always like, I can't help but say it, but people are like,
Why?
where are you going? And I'm like, I don't know. They're Hispanic and there's tequila. Like, I don't. Is there a
Okay.
difference in any of the islands? To be
I
honest,
don't know.
I will say this, bro. If you go on that many cruises where you're a
Yeah.
gold member,
Yeah.
I just found out that was a thing 8 seconds ago.
Addison's 5 and she's almost platinum.
What?
Addison is 5 years old and she's almost platinum. She had been on 2 cruises.
You gotta try new things.
She had been on 2 cruises before her first birthday. Yeah, we like cruises a lot. They're just the best.
I don't know. Disney?
I try to see if there's this line of getting arrested and thrown in the brig for
Oh,
public
that's what I'm talking
intoxication.
about,
I
yeah.
try to get as close to that
Yeah.
line every cruise as
How
possible.
far away from like the edge of the boat do you stay?
Oh,
do you just walk right up
I'm
to it?
not. No way am I going close to it, but I stay inside. But all I'm saying is I mess with the guards. Or
There are guards?
The cops. The cops.
Yeah.
I mess
Oh,
with
okay.
the security.
The cops.
Yeah,
The
yeah, yeah,
security.
yeah.
I
The
mess with them.
boat cops.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see how if I can.
Yeah.
And that's why.
Okay, well,
privilege.
speaking of boat cops, let me try that again. Speaking of boat cops,
Yeah.
there's a video online because so if you like rent a yacht,
Yeah.
depending on where you're going in the world, they will bring on like private security because people
Wow.
are
Oh, Somalians.
they're always getting hijacked. There's a video online, dude, of these like Somali pirates like kind of behind them in a speedboat,
Yeah, scary.
and all these influencers like taking photos and videos, whatever, and you just see these 3 super jacked guys walk past the influencers
Blackwater.
with like AK and just like bah, 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 and start opening fire. It is so
What?
crazy, dude.
Oh yeah, ideally they do warning shots in the water in front of them.
I mean, yeah.
But if they keep
I
coming,
love Tom Hanks in that movie. What was it? When
Sully.
The Somalian
I'm the
pirates.
captain now.
Sully.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Sully.
I was dating a girl at the time who thought that those Somalian pirates were actual real pirates that they had just like gotten.
I mean, he
and
was skinny
She didn't realize
enough,
that they were
yeah.
like legitimate actors and stuff. She was
Yeah.
like, "Oh my god!" She was like, "These Nicaraguans are really good at what they do," and I was like, "They're actors." Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's he's great at an actor.
yeah, he is.
It makes me sad for that guy and the kid from Slumdog
Radio?
Millionaire
Oh,
and
yeah.
Radio,
Yeah.
because they get like all these awards and they do all these things and then
Yeah.
you never see him again. dude.
No.
Like
Cuba
you
Gooding, he is in what's that Ski Dogs movie he was in?
that's a good one.
That was really
Ski
good.
Okay.
Dogs.
No, Cuba
Snow
Gooding.
Patrol.
Yeah, Cuba
Snow
Gooding Jr.'s
Patrol.
brother was the host on Wild and Crazy Kids.
What?
That's him.
That's his brother.
That's a
ever
fun
notice- you
game.
ever notice how-
Omar Gooding.
You know, I've
Yeah.
noticed how Josh always can remember stuff. Always. I always look to Josh because he will remember the name of a movie, the
That's
song of
usually
it, the
making
act.
it up.
It's nuts to me.
He didn't remember Cuba Gooding Jr.'s brother.
It's nuts to me that someone.
Okay,
that,
you don't have to put me. You don't have to bash me. Let's record. I gotta get home.
it's crazy to me how someone that that went for the CBD trifecta can remember all that stuff.
All right.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I
Headlines.
took something right now.
Are you ready? Did you really? All right.
I took a met.
3, 2.
So it was a busy week in
Yes.
Florida, but not for our show. So
Okay.
Huh.
the date is July the 10th, 2023 right now.
Okay.
We just celebrated 4th of July, USA.
I hate fireworks.
And, well, it's oddly enough that you say that. It's interesting, man. There wasn't a great bunch of headlines this week. There was a lot from past years. I only pulled one. I have two
okay.
from this past week, but a lot of it was depressing, man. Some really
Yeah.
depressing stuff that happened this week. But the first one, we visit a man named Dwayne Edward Gilmore.
Okay.
And he doesn't look like he's working with a full deck. This is from
I
Seminole.
mean, the initials are DEG. Right?
Deg. What if he goes by that? Like that's
That's
his
cool.
street name. Is what up,
Yeah.
Deg?
I was
That's
just
cool.
about to say he sounds like an elder statesman with that name.
Yeah.
he just doesn't look like he's
Okay.
ready.
All
Like
right.
I wish my initials were Jam.
Okay.
They're close, but they're not.
Seminole County. This happened basically roughly over 3 hours.
Whoa.
He goes into a bank, tries to rob them. He slides a note,
Oh no.
and I'm just gonna give you the facts, and then you guys can run wild with it as we
Okay.
normally do. He slides him a note. I don't
Okay.
know what the note said, but he had to do with "I want some money," and the cops say he left that place empty-handed. So I guess,
So he just gave him a note.
and he said he had a weapon, but
Okay.
all of that he still
Okay.
left empty-handed, right? So then he goes and gets lunch. An hour and a half. An hour and a half passes. I
Okay.
know he went and got lunch because of the time that he at 1:15 he tried to rob the first one.
Yes. Yeah.
The next bank was only 20 minutes away.
Okay.
Right?
Oh,
It
you
took
think
him an
was-
hour and a
yeah.
half before he finally mustered up the courage.
He
I
got
think
he got a fast food sandwich.
He did.
Yeah.
He had an Arby's.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
And then he goes and robs the next place. He slides in the note, and he was successful this time.
Okay. Was it the same
Whoa.
note though?
I don't know. Maybe.
You think he took the note back?
'Cause
Because the
it-
first one, he's like, "This."
Can I
Sorry.
have this
Well,
back?
they're like,
Yeah.
we're not going to give you any money, and he goes, well, give my note back then,
Yeah.
Probably.
or else the bank's robbing him. So
Didn't get
that's you
anything
see what I'm
Oh, wow.
saying.
They didn't want to be guilty.
They don't want to go to jail.
And then they pushed the panic button. Cops found him. He had stolen the getaway car was his stolen too. So
Okay.
they charged him with. I don't think anyone ever in history has been charged with attempted robbery without violence and robbery without violence in the same day.
That's insane,
Oh,
actually.
and Grand Theft
Wow.
Auto. So
Okay.
So he successfully stole a car.
Yeah.
He unsuccessfully robbed 2 banks.
No, successful on the
successfully
second,
won, missed on the first.
but the
Okay.
panic button got hit.
See, that's the thing, man. Is like you would think at this point in history, I have never robbed a bank, but I've seen enough bank robbing educational videos that I
Yes.
would know there's a panic button.
Yeah, you got to say keep the hands above the counter.
I wanna
'cause
see your
the panic
hands.
button is always like,
no bank. We've done the logistics as a banker myself. No bank has. There's no bank carrying an amount of money that it's worth it to rob. So
hold
like,
on.
Well, yeah, back up a bit.
some
Yeah.
banks, like if you you got to think, like there's a bank in New York that keeps like our bank. We only keep like 200 grand on taps at all
That's
time
enough.
in actual cash.
Yeah.
Like there's a bank in New York that keeps like $3 million on tap.
Okay,
For $3 million, you're gonna spend $1 million to get down to Mexico and be untraced.
I will rob a bank for 200K.
No, I'd run through 200K in a couple of weeks.
You
Yeah,
could?
I could too.
I
yeah.
could run through $500,000 in
What's your-
Vegas in one night.
Okay, can we before moving on
Yeah.
to the next headline? Can we starting with Josh? What's your opening line if you're robbing a bank? You walk in the door.
Hey, buddy,
Okay,
I'm just here because I need to rob this place.
and I'm gonna be the security guard.
Yeah. Hey, buddy, there's a bomb in my pants.
Whoa, sir.
It's not. I'm not part of this.
Okay.
I don't want to do this. I'm sorry.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a great approach. I don't want to rob the bank.
Yep.
There's a bigger robber than me.
Yeah, and he's bad.
If I don't get the money, they're gonna kill me.
They're gonna
That's-
blow my
that's
crotch off.
Really
Whoa, what's your
Yeah.
Jordan? Okay, I'm the security guard. You just
Hey,
walk-
you look like a robber. Are you here to rob the place?
yeah. What are you doing here, buddy?
To rob.
good.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going full blown like everybody get down. Like I'm gonna shoot a couple warning shots off, and like there's
Yeah.
no turning back from me. I'm taking
Okay.
hostages.
Wow.
I'm either gonna escape with a bunch of money,
love it.
or
Or it's-
everyone's dying, including myself.
Oh
Like,
my
that's-
gosh.
I've already. It's going downhill quick.
Yep.
Either I get the money or everybody dies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
How
yeah.
hard do you think it would be to make everybody like suicidal in the bank and be like they did it themselves?
Oh wow, like the
like just make
happening,
them super sad.
like the happening with what's his face?
yeah, Wahlberg.
Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you show them sad videos.
Yeah.
You show them like everybody look at this
Global
video.
warming's happening. You're not gonna.
And by the end of
Yeah.
it, that's pretty good. I wouldn't rob a bank because I'm Christian, but I think that like I can see where you guys would want to rob banks.
Why?
Just financial troubles.
You know about those?
No, okay, but can we just say this on the air?
Yeah.
I want to acknowledge that that Jordan, I think it would work with you, man.
Yeah, I would.
What
like,
about
I
Inside
wouldn't-
Man?
I wouldn't brush my hair and stuff. I honestly don't even know how I should be even talking this like with my job.
Yeah,
like
you
I get
put-
like a
you're-
notice tomorrow.
You're
like
putting
you
the
can't even
plan
talk
on
about,
the internet.
You
No,
can't
I
even
think you
talk
should.
about joking about it.
Yeah.
Wayne says he's a Christian, but let the record show that while our lead
Yeah.
pastor is on sabbatical,
Uh-huh.
Wayne showed up to church and was greeting people with with shorts on yesterday in the house
Oh
of
my
God.
That's right, I
Gosh.
did.
He
This guy
was.
came up to me and he walks up to me and he goes, "Yeah, pastor goes on sabbatical and you wear shorts to church."
Huh,
And
for
he
the
was talking
first
to his
time.
mom, like
What?
almost like a disrespect, like, "Hey, Andrew, I'm not afraid of you. I'm gonna wear your shorts and talk to your
Wow.
mom."
Oh my goodness.
Let the record show that he just said he would kill a bank full of people
Yeah,
for money.
he just lost a
I'm just
crown.
kidding.
in
That was a
heaven.
different.
I'm
That's a
just
different
kidding.
world. That's Grand Theft Auto, Jordan. Like when I play Grand Theft Auto,
Right.
I'm not thinking about the missions. I'm thinking how many hookers can I beat up.
How many?
You know what I'm saying? But in reality, I'm a great dad. Like people love me. You know
I
what
don't
I'm
know
saying?
if that's the flip side.
I'm the kind of
that.
guy at house parties where I'm swimming and entertaining the kids. Like they're like,
Right.
hey, like,
Okay.
oh, we're bored.
Are
will you
kids
come,
entertained by a
will
grown
you
adult
come- will
man
you-
swimming?
Will you come act like a monster and chase us and stuff? I'm
Oh.
like the dad,
I
right?
gotcha,
So I
yeah.
would never hurt anybody.
No, you're right.
I've never even hit a dog. You know what I'm
Promise?
saying?
Yeah.
Promise. I've never
Okay.
even hit a dog
Okay.
close
No,
fist.
that's great.
Yeah.
Close fist. I've never hit a dog.
Well,
I mean, okay, you left a lot of options open.
Yeah.
but if it
that
like
feels the
poops on the
same.
rug, you gotta spank it. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think you do. I don't
Well,
think it's pooping on purpose.
Well,
It definitely is. No one's like, unless it's like 100 years old, unless it's Maddie, it's definitely pooping on purpose.
I wish. So if you're not if you're not watching on live stream right now, Jordan just did the funniest spank motion I've ever seen.
Uh-huh.
He goes, "You got to spank."
He got to spank it. He was real loose with the wrist. Which
No,
is
okay.
nice.
So headline number 1, that's a success. He goes to jail on 3 different charges. He's a failure of a bank robber, and I think we put him in the shame corner
Yeah.
for
100%,
now.
Yeah.
For now, because there's only one.
There's a
seat.
bunch of shamers. This
Okay,
next man,
let's
this
see.
happened. I've seen you can find the, I always like to give people names because I like to watch body cam footage. So if you're listening, you
Yeah.
find him on YouTube. His name
I'd
is
love to wear a body
Christopher
cam.
Lemke, Lemke.
He's a cop.
He's 70 years old. No, he's
Okay.
70 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You'll find his video from a cop's perspective. But
Cool.
you know, he's 70 years old, just an old man,
Yep.
just another old cranky Floridian man
That's
that
right.
doesn't like fireworks. So he walks out. This
My
family's
man.
shooting fireworks.
Yep.
And he walks out with a gun because he
The
did,
ultimate firework.
and he admitted to it to the cops. Yeah. And he said,
Yeah.
the cops said, "Why did you come out with a gun?" He said, "Well, I didn't know who was out there. It was for my protection." They say, "We give you benefit of the doubt." So, right? So
Okay.
they give him benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
He
He's
says,
white then.
He says, bingo. He
Okay.
says, "Quit shooting them." Okay.
Wait, who does he say that to?
To the people shooting fireworks,
Yeah.
quit shooting these
Okay.
off. Right?
Yeah.
He has the gun. Right? But he
Like-
didn't point it at anybody. He just had
Okay,
it there.
but it's visible.
It's visible, right? He's just
Okay.
holding it. It says,
Okay.
He says, "Quit shooting fireworks." Right?
Yeah.
Or
It's
this.
it's
is gonna
seven.
happen.
It's,
Yeah.
It's 7:30. Me and my wife are trying to go to sleep.
Okay.
What? 7:30? My
That's
neighbors
on him.
went till 11.
Yeah.
Bro, they was going till like 3 in the morning.
That's
So
what I'm talking
then
about.
he goes back in, right? And they keep shooting.
Yep.
And he comes back out, and then this is where it gets interesting.
Oof.
Points at him with the laser, and says the next
Cool.
person that shoots a firework off
He's getting holes in
is getting holes in them.
That is
Wow.
They call the
wild.
cops.
Swiss cheese.
Cops come, arrest him. Yeah, the whole
Okay,
shenanigans.
here's my thing, man. I don't like fireworks. I think they're silly. Once you've seen one, you've seen them all.
Bingo.
When's the last time there's been a new firework? You haven't seen a new firework your whole life,
That's
and you know
true.
it.
Yep.
So I think parades and fireworks are silly, but the line to draw a gun on somebody, I'm wondering like, how bad did this guy need sleep where he was like, one more firework goes
He's
off?
retired, obviously.
Yeah, right. I mean, dude, that's part of the reason why I don't even do the home made fireworks anymore, because we used to do that. Remember?
Yeah, we lit a box on fire
I think was that on purpose or accident?
that had fireworks in it, tons of them.
I think we
Yeah.
got like a discount box and we
Well, I think because we bought like a huge box, we lit 10 and we go, this is boring.
yeah.
Let's light the box on fire
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
that had the fireworks.
Oh
in it.
yeah.
And that was amazing.
Yeah.
But it was over in 2 minutes.
Right.
We've been here now for 2 4th of Julys, and shouts out to Polk County. The first time we go buying fireworks, we asked for Roman candles, and apparently they don't sell projectiles here like bottle rockets.
But you can carry a gun.
yeah, exactly
And,
right.
and now without a permit.
Right.
I remember my dad had this army buddy who had really bad PTSD, and
man.
I don't know how he got it, but he sold
Probably
my
the
dad.
war.
He sold my dad in like the early 2000s a couple half
Yeah.
sticks of dynamite.
Yeah.
All I know is that we lit them and then put trash cans like the industrial ones that you
Yeah.
get from like
Cool.
the city. We put them over it.
Yeah.
I've never seen something launch so high up in the sky. Like we set them and the trash can.
Tell
But
me
see,
about
that's
it.
what I'm
way
here
up
for,
there.
though, bro.
I'm here
Like,
for that.
Yeah, I don't want I don't want my kids to be around, right?
Yeah.
I don't want
No.
nothing like that. Nobody that I love around. but me and the boys go out
Yeah.
and then we'll watch folks light explosives off. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's more fun than like the city fireworks.
You ever been to a Hispanic for New Year's Eve party?
Never been invited.
My wife's Hispanic. We went to some of her in-laws' house for New Year's Eve, and around 2 o'clock, after all these adults had been drinking and
2
consuming
p.m.?
tequila, no, 2 a.m.
Oh wow.
They decided, or it was actually 12 o'clock because that's why they started doing it. They take their revolvers and they where you can click the action fast and just shoot round after
Yes.
round.
I don't
They
know.
just shoot them right at the ground, just round after round
For
after
what
round.
reason?
Kids, I don't know. I'm not. That's not my culture. And
I-
kids running
Yeah.
around,
Yeah, good
everybody's
work.
intoxicated. I'm like, this is a terrible. Even me,
Yeah.
definitely over .08. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is a bad idea. Like,
I
there's
think-
kids running around.
I think everybody celebrates, their freedom differently, and that makes sense to me. I think I could see some families doing that, and but if I have to choose between a Hispanic family at 2 a.m. firing off their guns,
Yep.
or like a bunch of redneck hillbillies, I'm gonna go with the Hispanic family. I
Yeah.
think every single time. I feel like they at least have a little more respect with where they're shooting. I've seen rednecks point at the sky and fire off semi-automatics without even having the monkey brain to discern those bullets come down somewhere, dude. You know what I mean?
Does it come down at a level where it's going to kill somebody?
I think
Yes.
Okay.
I
100%,
read
yeah.
one time in a riddle book, a book full of riddles, that if you drop a penny off the Empire State Building, it'll saw a person in half. Okay, so
Does
that
it
bullet,
expand?
it goes.
Does it expand to a saw blade size?
I think so. So that bullet
Yeah.
is definitely going to saw somebody.
Would
in
you
half.
rather see that happen, like someone get sawed from pennies, or would you rather see Joey Chestnut versus who's the Asian guy that used to eat the hot dogs?
Donald Trump?
Yeah.
No,
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan.
no, his name wasn't Namasaki. But would you rather see those two in their prime go 1-1 each other?
I don't
with
wanna watch-
eating glizzies.
I don't want to watch just a human take on a bunch of hot dogs.
Kobayashi was his name. Kobayashi
Yeah.
versus Joey Chestnut in their prime.
I
don't-
guess that. I don't want to watch somebody get sawed in half.
Okay, I would love.
We went to Vegas one time.
Yeah.
And
You've been to Vegas?
Oh yeah,
Nicole won't let me go.
we went to Vegas, and they the magician came out, the
Chris
warlock.
Angel?
Yeah, and put a woman in a box and sawed her in half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I walked out. I said, I don't want to see this kind
There's
of
a
stuff.
better magician at the Auburndale World Expo Flea Market. Way better.
All
What's
right,
his
so
name?
so yeah, what's his name?
Clowny.
That's,
That's
not.
the worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
I don't know his name. I think it was Geppetto or something. It was something Italian, but
So
he
the
didn't
best
look. He didn't look
magician-
Italian. He looked Mexican.
The best magician you've ever seen, you didn't even document his name.
No, the best magician I've ever seen was on YouTube. It was
This guy just-
David Blaine. David Blaine's the best in
Yeah.
my opinion.
yeah, but
that's true.
that's some. I think.
That's
okay.
actors.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's
so
go. Headline two.
this guy obviously went to jail.
Yeah, for sure.
Shame corner for
Shame
him.
corner, yeah.
I think we pulled
Temporary.
out the first bank robber, put in this white 70-year-old.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
This one.
I
Comes,
did like that he had a laser sight. That's
That
cool.
is pretty
This
cool.
one comes from us from 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Today, on July the 10th, 2018.
Okay.
46-year-old homeless Floridian man Jonathan Crenshaw was arrested in Miami Beach for stabbing another man with a pair of scissors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the fun part.
Yeah.
Okay.
Crenshaw has no arms.
Come again?
He stabbed the other man with the scissors using his feet and then ran away.
In the assassin world, that's called a foot job.
I don't think that's the assassin world you're thinking.
Well, no, because whenever you want to kill somebody, but you don't have any hands, you get them with your feet.
Yeah.
Can we
say.
fact check that? Google foot job.
So he got in trouble.
Okay, so just a random guy's walking by and he stabs him with scissors on his
No,
toes?
he said it was self-defense. There was not a bunch on the story. I think they said he's like a guy that does art and around the city, and so I feel like he's kind of a bit of a
He's
celebrity.
an artist.
Yeah.
So you've
Oh, feet
seen
artist.
chickens fight. They jump and
Okay.
they will use they jump and do with their feet. That's how I
Yeah.
imagine this guy doing it. He does a little jump and
I think he probably. I think he probably wheeled over there to him,
Oh,
and
wow.
then
Wait,
You're
why isn't
thinking
he-
trading places?
and then was like,
with
"Hey, look over
Eddie
there. There's
Murphy.
a woman breastfeeding," and then through the
that
scissors
wouldn't
there,
distract me.
stabbed him with it, and then as the guy's bleeding out, then he grabs it. I don't think it was a swift motion kind of type deal, but I don't know. He's probably good.
no.
He's probably better with his feet than I am.
Hey, fellas.
Hello, Josh.
So during the break, we talked about Tom Cruise movies.
We did.
And I'm going to start a timer now. and we're gonna figure out how many our guest Jordan can name in 60 seconds.
What's the okay? So it's you. Don't, do you think over or under?
I think 5.
Technically, I could. Okay, and under. Okay, you
I think you can name 5 movies.
Okay.
I
Tom
think
Cruise
you'll
did.
name 8 Tom. No, I'm gonna say 10 Tom Cruise movies in 60 seconds.
I think he's
Wow,
stalling
he's really good
with
to
the
me.
over and under. So we're starting.
All right, so Interview with a Vampire, Far and Away with Nicole Kidman. Then he had Mission Impossible. I'm not going to
chronological?
name all of them. I'm not going to use every single one of them as a single guess. He had Legend. He had Jerry Maguire. He had a Top Gun. Crap.
We're at 6
I'm kind of
right
blanking
now.
now.
No,
He was
crap
in the he was in the Mummy,
Okay.
a new remake of the Mummy.
He was.
Okay.
Luke is so good with movies. Luke's pointing at me when I'm right.
Wow, he has 100.
He was in a war movie with Charlie Sheen. I feel like I can't think of the name of it. I mean, I can name all the Mission Impossibles and
Platoon?
technically get credit for that. Was that the name of it? Platoon?
I don't know.
I feel like I'm done at that. I did Far and Away, Interview
You
with
got
the Vampire,
7.
Mission
Yeah.
Impossible.
So you got 7. Okay, so I was gonna say I thought you were gonna actually use Mission Impossible 1, 2, 3.
Oh,
4.
there's Risky Business too. Risky Business.
Oh,
Give
yeah,
me
the underwear
clock's
dance.
still running. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you
We'll
got
shoot it.
8. Can we say the reason why we set this up for you listeners is because in the break, Jordan said that when he was little, he was addicted to watching Tom Cruise movies,
Yeah, but it's a weird addiction.
and his family took him to a shaman
Yeah.
who would make a sandwich with your body parts.
Well,
Yeah,
he
his
would
name was-
request ham, bread, and
His
mayonnaise.
name was Bippy, and he could. Everybody thought he was a wizard because he couldn't grow toenails.
Well, witch doctor.
And people would come to him, and you had to bring him the mayonnaise, ham, and bread.
Any special brand of mayonnaise? Because I feel like Hellman's is like.
Well, you would
basic.
make the sandwich,
Yeah.
but it's everything except for the mayonnaise, and you would tell him what was wrong, and he would slap mayonnaise on that part of your body. Like if you had like a bad groin,
Yeah.
you know where that's going.
Yeah.
And he would take the other piece of bread and scoop the mayonnaise off, make the sandwich, eat it, and then he would give you your diagnosis. And my parents took me to him because I was sick because I couldn't stop watching Tom Cruise movies. Like I'd go to school.
They
or
hated
like,
that about you.
Yeah, like they were like, we're gonna get a divorce, and I'd be watching Tom Cruise movie. So
Yeah.
it was just like I couldn't stop watching them. They were like, we need to
Course.
talk about this. Like, who do you want to live with? And I was like, Tom Cruise. So
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, pick a parent.
yeah.
And Bippy didn't fix you?
yeah.
Or no?
No, I have inside. I've always still had that feeling for Tom, but I didn't. I buckled it down because I didn't want to go back to Bippy because he stuck the mayonnaise in my eyes because he was
Yeah.
like that was the affected
Wow.
area.
So that's well. No, we wanted you guys to hear that because we had to hear it, so we wanted the world to hear it as
Yeah.
well. Now, that's wonderful, dude. I wouldn't have gone either, and just mainly for my fear of witches and he witches. But
Good
that's
point.
massive.
Yeah.
Sorry, back to Josh.
It's sad that you don't remember Vanilla Sky. I think Tom Cruise or his dirty one with Nicole Kidman.
Eyes Wide
the-
Shut.
Eyes Wide Shut.
Eyes Wide Shut is my
or his
favorite.
space one where he had to go back in time and keep dying.
Oh, that was so good.
What was the name of that? one?
Live Die Repeat was the English name, but Day After Tomorrow was the.
There we go.
Yeah, it's
He
really
had
good, dude.
when he had World War Z, right? Or
Not
no, War
World
of the
War-
Worlds.
yeah.
But what was that other one that he did where he was like an astronaut or whatever? And was
Oblivion.
Like Oblivion.
Yeah.
That was
Wow.
good. That was goated.
We're having a Tom Cruise off. I
Yeah,
like
we are.
this.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, fellas.
Hello,
so
Josh.
since we have Jordan here, and he is from Alabama,
Uh-oh.
I decided to do a little research on the state of Alabama because he doesn't get time to talk about his home state.
There's not much.
Well, according to my research, there is.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I'm just going to give you some facts.
Good stuff or bad stuff?
Really good stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let's see.
There's a lot of bad
I,
stuff
I
happening.
bullet pointed it here. Alabama was originally first, I guess, controlled by the French.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mobile, Alabama, actually a French base. And it was actually the original, and Louisiana's going to have a problem with this, but the first Mardi Gras happened.
It definitely was.
in
I mean,
Mobile,
they
Alabama.
can't even argue it. Like, history says it. Like, they can't argue it. Like, I think New Orleans does a better one.
Amen.
But
Mobile.
they still can't say that Mobile wasn't first.
They were first, yeah.
That's interesting because I would not go to Mardi Gras. I wouldn't go to either one of them, but I
Yeah.
definitely wouldn't go to Mobile.
The last
Alabama.
one you'd go to would be Mobile.
Oh, there's no way I'm going.
So the French, while they controlled this place, the French actually had this policy called the King's Daughters, and they would ship young women
Okay.
from ages like 14 to 19.
Okay.
They called them casquette girls
Okay.
because of the little baggage, the little luggage that they carried.
Yeah.
They sent them to their, I don't know, the other lands that they controlled
Right.
to marry the men there,
Okay.
right?
As a way to like
I guess start,
influence. Yes,
influence.
yes.
So these girls, one of their first stops in the 1700s was they had to go to Cuba first, where they picked up yellow fever.
Wow.
And then they went to Mobile, Alabama, which they infected the base, and they killed like a really world-renowned explorer. I can't pronounce his name, but a world-renowned explorer died from yellow fever. So about 20 of these girls show up to die,
Right.
and then what's interesting is that these girls were recruited from like charitable institutions and church. And the government guaranteed them to be virgins.
I thought
Okay.
they were king's daughters.
Oh, well, they called them King's Daughters. The
But
policy
they
was
weren't
called
really?
King's Daughters. They were just,
People they got from like homeless shelters.
yeah, orphanages.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's so
Yeah.
sad.
So these casquette girls actually had a problem because they're new men. They just wanted to hang out in the woods. So what's interesting is that these girls staged what's called the Petticoat Rebellion.
Okay.
Due to their husband's negligence in building homes and gardens, and actually got what they wanted. They got the husbands to come out of the woods. I don't know. There's not a lot of info on it.
I mean, that sounds pretty. I would get
think-
me
I
to come out
remember-
of the woods,
I
though.
remember hearing about it.
The Petticoat Rebellion?
I think they kept saying the reason if I remember correctly they called it the petticoat was because they kept wearing these specific type coats to identify themselves, like who was for it and who wasn't. But then they
My
wouldn't
man.
do like their chores, like they wouldn't get supper ready to go,
See?
and then they would basically hold the men hostage. And the man was like, "You get it done tomorrow, you're getting a whipping." And she's like, well, "You'll be gone for 8 hours. I can do whatever I want to do. You can't be here to enforce it." So
Wow.
This is exactly what I hoped. I thought I'd bring the facts, and then Jordan would fill
that's
in.
probably wrong. Somebody will
It
get me in the
sounds
comments.
right.
It sounds
So,
really right,
yeah.
though.
What France also did was send a group of women called the Correction Girls.
Okay.
And they were supplied to the colonists when France started basically going through the streets and sending the undesirables and women from the correctional institutes.
Whoa.
So yeah, first you get the virgins, then you get the naughty girls.
And they were just shipping them.
yeah, over to marry men
That's
because they controlled
wild.
Alabama. It's pretty interesting. So Alabama also, when it finally became a state, they had a real problem deciding where they were going to put the capital. So within, 29 years, they changed it 5 times.
That's so.
I wonder if I can guess all 5.
Okay, let's see. Go.
Mobile, Montgomery,
Montgomery, yes.
Huntsville,
Huntsville, yes.
Birmingham.
No,
Ooh. Tuscaloosa,
yes.
Selma.
No.
I don't know. Where are the other two?
Cahaba,
That's not real. That's not a real Alabama town.
St. Stephen's.
St.
Never-
Stephen's, I've
never-
heard of.
Never heard of either one.
Huh, well, that happened. I don't know.
That
just here
okay,
with facts.
but that's 3 out of 5 is impressive, though.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
Those are I just named the big cities.
Well, you did a good job. So Alabama, had a hard time establishing a capital
Yeah.
and also establishing a constitution. Alabama's constitution is believed to be the longest in the world,
What?
with 388,000 words
Holy
and
moly!
892 amendments. This is 40 times longer than the U.S. Constitution. It was written in 1901, and it actually stripped local communities and cities, towns, and counties of the home rule, basically their ability to govern themselves. So what happens is if you want to set a new law for bingo or cattle, the Constitution of Alabama has to be amended.
That's
Wow.
so
And-
wild.
Yeah. So
That's stupid.
it's stupid. Yeah. That's exactly what we're looking for.
We wanted the native to say that, though.
That makes a lot of sense, though.
Yeah, it does. So with this big constitution, Alabama was kind of behind when it came to when it comes to setting laws. Like it took until 1997 for bear wrestling for profit to become illegal.
Wow.
Wait, I'm sorry. What was
1997.
Yeah,
that just ended?
it just ended.
Wow.
But in 2015, it was amended and removed because they wanted to shorten, they wanted to remove a lot of the excess laws
Yeah.
that didn't make sense. So one they removed was wrestling bears for profit.
So you can still do that now?
I guess you can.
That
yeah.
is absolutely
So they suspended it for
outrageous.
like almost 20 years.
Yeah, they said, hey, Nish, it was big, if I'm honest. The research I did, bear wrestling in Alabama was huge.
It's still really, really, it's still really behind in the times for the sense of like, there's a lot of domestic abuse that goes on. Like, there's a lot of guys that beat on their wives,
Yeah.
but yet,
Or kids.
but yet they really pull out the religion card when it comes to the state still has no lottery, even though the education system is close to dead last, right behind Mississippi. It also the county I'm from is actually still dry, so we do not sell
Really?
alcohol in that county. The schools in my county are really bad, just because, and they hide behind, oh, well, we're not going to submit to the world by selling alcohol, things like
Okay.
that. But yet they have no. There's huge crime.
whoop
there's,
some
there's we had a governor that was marrying 14-year-old girls.
I remember that.
Like, it's just
I remember
it's
that,
just a
dude.
mess, bro. Like, it really is. It's just that very hypocritical state, it has tons of bad history, with the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
But yet they hide behind Bibles, and they still consider themselves very big on the Bible Belt. It's very, very hypocritical state.
Yeah, we'll say they're eccentric.
Right.
Well, that's the word I have written here.
Yeah.
So I'll continue. So their eccentricity
Yes.
includes traditions like the mullet toss, which we talked about in episode
we did.
104.
We did.
The Floribama line,
Yes.
and mullet is tossed. Dead fish is tossed. The farthest fish throw wins.
Yep. And they actually will throw it, and it's like a little battle between like Alabamians and Floridians.
Yeah.
They have a fish fight.
I saw that in Braveheart when they threw the rocks or whatever.
That's
very
right.
similar.
Very similar.
Yeah, yeah.
Very similar.
They also have, I believe it's Enterprise, Alabama.
I know where that's at.
They have a boll weevil monument.
Wow.
what?
A boll weevil? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that.
That animal.
You think
Yeah.
it's actually pronounced bull weevil?
Yeah.
Bull weevil. So these cotton fields, these bull weevils showed up and just started decimating them,
Yeah.
eating all the cotton,
Yeah.
apparently.
Yeah.
So Enterprise, Alabama decides, well, what else can we do? We're going to pay the Italians $1,800 to build a monument to the bull weevil
Yeah.
Like a sacrifice?
as a celebration.
Thinking the bull wave will be so flattered he leaves?
Honestly, the bull weevil wasn't even a part of the statue of the monument until like 40 years later when it was actually a woman with just empty hands lifting up. And then someone like 50 years later decided, hey, we should put a bull weevil there
Wow.
if we're going to honor them.
My new favorite thing is having Josh do a deep dive on another state.
Yeah, it's fun.
This is great because I'm sitting here going like, there's no way this is real. I
Yeah.
mean, I've never. I'm gonna be completely upfront with you
Yeah.
guys. I just realized that bull weevils were a real creature.
Yeah, I'd heard the word.
I
but
had heard.
just
Yeah, I didn't realize that was a
care.
real animal till just
Yeah.
now.
Sorry that we didn't care about an animal that decimated your home state.
Yes,
It's okay.
So,
Cotton's probably the worst thing that ever happened to that state, honestly.
yeah. So what happened was one farmer decided, hey, I can't fight these boll weevils.
No.
I'm going to plant peanuts.
Okay.
And then that took off. So the monument to the boll weevil is actually a celebration that they were able to determine or able to find a new market and a new product to present to the U.S. to the nation.
That's so wild.
George
So-
Washington Carver, who invented peanut butter, is actually from Alabama, too.
That makes sense because peanuts, boll weevil monument, boom, baby, it's all connected.
There's a lot of
That's so
historic people. There's a lot
wild.
of historic people from there.
Yeah. Well, let's see. In Haleyville, Alabama, they actually came up with the 911 system.
That's true.
Yeah. Not because of any original thinking. They heard that AT&T was going to do it nationwide, and they decided, hey, we can beat them to it. So they did.
That's funny.
And now they call themselves the home of 911.
Where I'm from is actually really small. You can look this up. It's called Albertville, Alabama.
Yeah.
They are responsible for making 90% of all fire hydrants in the world. from a place called from a company called Mueller, Mueller. You can look it up. 90% of the fire hydrants you'll see in the world, if you look at them, it says
Mueller?
manufactured in Albertville, Alabama.
Wow, what a claim to fame.
Did you work at the factory?
Yeah.
God, no.
Yeah, would you though?
No, probably not. We have great Mexican food.
Yeah.
That's honestly, when I drove up to Maine, that's something that was missing.
Mexican food?
Yeah.
I don't think they have Mexican food in
What?
Maine.
Yeah,
a lot of
they
lobster.
haven't. Yeah, a lot of lobster, but not a lot of Mexican food.
Can I just say something here about Alabama? I feel like I'm feeling the way our listeners feel about Florida right now.
Yeah.
Like none of this sounds real.
Yep.
None of this, it all feels made up.
Yeah.
Every fact is more extraordinary than the last one.
Yeah.
And then, like, I love the piecemeal facts from Jordan going, we make the fire hydrants there.
Of course they do.
That's what I actually love about Florida. As messed up as I thought Alabama was, Florida is nuts, dude. Florida is like you take a bit of every state in the world or in the country, and you put it in Florida, and that's
Thank
what you
you.
got.
The melting
It's a
pot.
mess,
man.
dude. It's
Yeah.
a mess.
Yeah, thank you for saying that.
I'll end with this: a positive, a
Yes.
compliment for
These have all been
Alabama.
positive.
Yeah.
Home of
So-
911.
Thank God you stayed away from anything else, man. It's
Yeah,
like
I didn't touch on any
60,
of
the
the heavy
60s were
stuff.
pretty rough.
Oh yeah, no, you guys did. You guys messed up a lot. But in the early 1900s, this Alabamian woman,
Okay.
she goes to New York City. She's on a I don't know, one of those carts that go through the city,
You're thinking of a subway.
subway cart,
Yes.
but it's above ground.
Okay.
And they have to keep stopping because the guy gets out and he wipes snow away from the windshield. Okay? So this lady, this Alabamian with a good education and a smart brain, goes home and invents the windshield wiper.
Wow.
Wow.
Yep. Her name I have written here,
Really small.
Mary Anderson.
Mary Anderson.
Nice.
Yeah. So the entire world benefited from Mary Anderson
That's true.
and her trip to New York City.
Peanuts, Bull Weevils, Mary Anderson.
Fire hydrants.
Dude, I love this. And here's the thing. I know right now the temptation is who else can we get on mic 3 that's from a different state so Josh can cover the state?
Yeah.
I digress.
Please.
I think we have Jordan fill in the blanks on these other random states that Josh is also deep diving on.
Oh, I could do that. That's a great segment.
Or where
honestly.
I'm from, where I was born. I spent an entire year
Where?
in Louisiana.
I still don't see that. But I guess I'm stereotypical. Like I always feel like everybody from Louisiana has to talk like water boy.
Yeah. Yeah. I broke that. Luckily, I was able to break that in 3rd grade.
One thing that we have covered extensively on our show is the ownership of Florida.
It's all over the place.
It's all over the
Yeah.
place.
French.
It's funny you say that, Josh, because our stories are very similar.
Really?
No Alabama relation, but a lot of French talk.
Ah.
I always thought the Spanish owned Florida
They
first.
did.
They
They did. So essentially, before our podcast started and we owned the state, America owned Florida. Before that, it was the Spanish, the French, and the British. They were always fighting over Florida. Now, the original owners, the First Nation people, that's the team we're on. That's the side we take.
Of course.
They take care of our state. And even to this day, most of the preservation of Florida is led by First Nation people in Florida, which is amazing.
And you did the 23andMe, and you were like,
I was actually 0.5% Cherokee.
yeah,
Yep.
Jeep Cherokee.
That's right, Jeep Cherokee. So, but there was a time period in the 1830s, where Florida almost changed ownership again in a really unexpected way.
Okay.
So in 1821, the Spanish had given control of Florida to the United States. Hey, we're done with this crazy town.
Yeah.
You guys keep it. We don't want it anymore. But during this time, Florida had not become an official state. We were called the Territory of Florida.
Oh,
So the
fancy.
U.S. was like, thank you for the gift, but we're not sure if we want to really have ownership of this.
Yeah.
And so Spain had turned their attention elsewhere. The British had begun working more closely with the United States, so they weren't fighting for Florida anymore. And in 1763, 60 years prior, the French had signed the Treaty of Paris, giving up all their land in the U.S., including Alabama.
Yeah.
So that's where they're
nice.
connected there.
Wow.
So during this time in the 1820s, no one expected any of these major countries to make another play for Florida. They felt like they were kind of done with that. But there's a very undiscussed topic that happened during this window of time where some French nobles came shockingly close to convincing King Louis Philippe to make another attempt at snagging some Florida land.
What?
Okay.
And so, about a month before military preparations were set to begin in France,
Yes.
there was a distraction that came from Mexico. Now, this is the part of the story where I really need you guys to follow me because it's going to get kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It feels unbelievable. But essentially, these French nobles, they tell King Louis, hey, we want some land in Florida.
Yep.
No one's going to expect us. No one's going to expect us. We've already given up all of our land in the
Cool.
U.S.
Yeah.
If we come take property now, it can be ours. And it's not even a state yet. It's a territory
Okay.
that we don't think the U.S. wants it. And King Louis is like, I think you're onto something.
Yeah.
I think we could do this.
Sneak in there.
And then a distraction comes from Mexico.
Is it Zorro?
We're getting there. It's close. A French pastry chef by the name of Monsieur Rimontel had moved from Paris to a small town just outside Mexico City. Rimontel had the idea
Mhm.
of bringing the delicacies of the French bakery
Okay.
to the people of Mexico.
Yep.
It takes him 2 years to travel from Paris
God bless.
to Mexico, buy property,
Okay.
refurbish the building, and then open up a bakery shop.
I thought that's
Um,
kind of quick.
Yeah, I mean, in that
2
day
years
and
to do
age,
that, I
in
feel like a year you'd
1830s,
be on
Yeah.
the boat.
right?
There's nothing I would travel 2 years.
Lord,
for.
no.
No, if they go, hey, you're dying, the cure is 2 years away, I'd be like, I'm good.
That's fine. Yeah,
You really wouldn't?
I'm just gonna go to
Oh,
sleep.
yeah, I'm good.
Via boat? No way,
No.
dude. Yeah, no way. So Rimontel, this is what he does. He goes to Mexico, opens up a bakery shop, and what no one told him was that
Yeah.
Mexico City was a pretty rough place to live in the 1830s.
Okay.
Okay, so
Banditos.
well, it was a lot of civil
Yeah.
unrest, and the Mexican army, in most instances, did whatever they wanted.
Of course.
They ran the place.
Yeah.
That sounds a lot like today.
It's actually very similar.
Yeah.
And so
I don't know if Mexico's changed in 1,000 years.
well, in the 1830s, a lot of people were calling it a military state because
wow.
the commanders basically ran the
Yeah.
territory. So one night, Monsieur Rimontel was in his bakery in Mexico City, full of customers. It's a wonderful evening. People are
Mhm.
experiencing French delicacies in Mexico.
Like what?
Eclairs, donuts,
Croissant?
yes, white loaves,
Beignets?
yes, and so.
Just saying pastries with a
Yeah.
French
Saying
flair to it. He said donuts.
Donuts.
So it's full of customers,
Yeah.
and a brigade of Mexican soldiers come into the shop and just tear the
Yeah.
place apart.
Oh, yeah.
They're
Can I just say that you have a great gift for being a storyteller, but you should be a one-man band. You should start
Wow,
putting on
appreciate that.
productions
Yeah.
at local theaters where you act these things out, because I feel like you can
You
sell
think?
a role so good.
I
Cool.
don't know. Speaking of rolls, these Mexican
Baked goods.
soldiers
Yeah.
come in. They're grabbing rolls off the shelf,
Oh,
throwing
yeah.
them across.
Oh, not even eating them.
Like a bull in a china shop, but
Yeah.
in Mexico. I mean, they're
Okay.
just tearing them apart. They're putting donuts on the end of the stabby part of the swords,
Oh,
of the
no.
guns. You
I
know,
hear,
they're
taste
just
this.
getting fancy.
they're
with
getting
it.
fancy with
Yeah.
it, right? Trashing the place, and as quickly as they arrive, they leave. So Monsieur Rimontel, he's just standing there, jaw on the floor,
Of course.
surveying the destruction, and there's nothing he can do except tally up the damage.
You can't fight a brigade.
No,
of-
not as a
yeah.
Frenchman.
No.
And so he cleans it all up. He does the math, and Rimontel calculates that the damage was 60,000 pesos to his
What?
store.
Well, that's his problem. You never do the math.
Well,
That's
here's the
totaled
thing.
out.
Here's the thing, dude. So it puts him in an interesting situation, Rimontel, because who in Mexico would come to the aid of a French pastry chef? Nobody.
Nobody. Yeah, I was going to say that.
No one's going to come to the aid, right?
Yeah.
So
Nobody.
Monsieur Rimontel gets on a boat and goes back to Paris,
What?
and he requests a meeting with King Louis Philippe.
Yeah.
Now
The
keep in mind,
Mexicans hate pastries.
right, and keep in mind, at the time, King Louis is really distracted by these French nobles who want Florida.
Oh,
He's dealing with this.
Okay.
Rimontel comes back from Mexico.
Yeah.
He tells King Louis everything. He goes,
What?
hey,
Yeah.
he goes, I'm in my shop. These soldiers come in, they destroy it, right?
They beat me up.
This is a point in history where pride is everything, right? The French, a few decades earlier, they've given up everything in the Americas. They give Alabama, they give all their land up.
Yeah.
Right.
He's focused on Florida, but then he hears this and he goes, wait a second.
I'm T.O.
This is my redemption.
Yeah.
A Frenchman gets bullied in Mexico, right? So the king says, how much is the damage? He goes, 60,000 pesos, right?
Mhm.
King Louis writes a letter to the Mexican military. He demands they pay 600,000
Oh, my
pesos
goodness.
for the damages to this shop.
Or else what?
Well, he just says, this is actually in summary what the letter says. You owe the French government 600,000 pesos.
Wow.
No explanation. Just this is what you owe us.
Really?
Yes.
Scary.
So to put that in perspective, the amount, 600,000 pesos was more than the entire budget of the Mexican army.
Wow.
All right.
That's going to be trouble.
It's a ludicrous request. So Mexico responds to King Louis and says, you can take your croissants and shove them because we're not going to give you
yeah.
any money
Yeah.
at all. We have no idea what you're talking about. In response to Mexico not paying the bill, King Louis deploys the entire French Navy to blockade every major port going to and coming from Mexico.
Now it's going to be trouble.
That's a lot. That's
Okay.
a lot of ports.
So the funny part about this is King Louis, he never said in the original letter what the offense was. He just says, you owe us 600,000 pesos.
Yep.
They say no, and he goes, okay, here's the Navy. Sends the
Does
Navy
he
out,
ever
right?
explain it even after that?
Well, we'll get there. So one day, the Navy shows up. They blockade Mexico. Mexico goes, what is this all about? Like, what are you
happening? Yeah.
doing, right?
Yeah.
And so the French king responds in a letter and says, this is for Monsieur Rimontel. And this is true. The Mexican government responds and says, we don't know who that is.
Yeah.
We don't
Who's
know
that?
what you're talking about.
And this is taking place over like 2 years at a time.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
it's-
100%.
I mean,
because, well, you got to think it takes. That's what I don't understand about King Louis. Be specific. These letters are taking months
Thank
at a
you.
time.
Yeah.
To get to and
he
from.
doesn't care, bro.
Yeah.
He
That
doesn't.
is
He
crazy.
doesn't care. So they reach out. Mexico reaches out to the United States, and they go, "Hey, King Louis and the French. They're
Bullying.
talking about some pastry stuff. They're blockading all of our ports. We don't know what to do. This is an act of war. We don't want to fight a war over donuts. Can you help us?" And America replies, "No."
Okay.
They
I don't blame
literally
them.
say, "Like, not our
Against
circus,
the
not our
French?
monkeys.
Yeah.
We're not gonna."
Hitler was killing Jews left and right. We didn't even want to get involved in that. So
Right.
I don't think we're going to help.
Yeah.
With
We
some
literally were
pastries.
just like, we're not gonna get involved in this, right? So there's little to no option. Mexico deploys their own navy and they sneak attack the French.
Really?
In the middle of the night, their navy deploys, attacks the French.
That's sneaky.
At this point, cannonballs are flying, port cities are being destroyed.
Okay.
Hundreds of people are dying every single night over a pastry shop, and nobody knows why they're fighting.
Do we know who this Monsieur? What's his name?
Monsieur Rimontel.
Do we know who he is? Like,
That's
why
his
does he
name.
have that
Yeah,
much
that's-
influence
yeah,
with
we-
King
well,
Louis that
it's-
he can just?
Well, it
First-
it
Yeah.
wasn't, to put in perspective here, it wasn't the influence, because back in the day, you could request an audience with the king and just wait in line.
Wow.
That was part of kind of what they did. And so he was noble enough to get in the line,
Okay.
but this was more of a pride issue because the king of France had given up so much land already.
Of course.
His thing was like, this is my redemption time. I'm going to take land in Mexico
That's
and
nuts.
point this way to this is what's going on, right?
Hmm.
So all this is going on. The French nobles go, hey, what about Florida? Are we still talking about that? And King
Yeah.
Louis goes, we're at war with Mexico. I don't give a crap about Florida
Yeah.
anymore. Like, we've moved on from that, right? So the war goes on for 3 months. The end result was Mexico losing and paying France 600,000
What?
pesos
What?
for damaging the pastry shop.
Okay.
Okay. And then the side effect is France stopped caring about Florida. So the hilarious part about the story is that according to all historic records, Monsieur Rimontel died without knowledge that he started an international conflict.
This is a war.
He had
not a
no
conflict.
idea that he started the war. This guy's in Paris sipping coffee.
Okay.
Had
Oh,
no-
he stayed.
Okay.
He stayed in
He
Paris.
didn't go back.
He didn't go back. He gave up on that dream. He's like, hey, I tried it once, didn't work out,
He
got
filed
trashed.
a complaint.
Yeah.
And then just
He
stayed.
moved
All
on
this
with his
makes
life.
sense now. Yeah.
And an international
Okay.
conflict happens, and then he never finds out. This is actually the first of multiple skirmishes during this time between the French and the Mexican people. The conflict went on to be called the Pastry War.
No.
This is true. And then 30 years later, in the 1860s, France launched a full-scale invasion of Mexico.
What?
It was like, so this pastry thing was a distraction
I
King
thought
Louis
I saw
needed.
the pastry war on Cake Boss. Is that different?
It's very similar.
Oh,
There was a
similar?
French guy on there that caused a lot of problems, and a Mexican beat him up.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the middle of the
Okay,
night.
that makes
So
sense
you
now.
remember that.
Yeah.
But essentially, this was what started the Mexican and French conflicts over a
Okay.
pastry shop. And the guy who started it never had any
Could
idea.
you
Over
imagine?
like
He's
10
like-
soldiers.
He's like reading a newspaper, like drinking his coffee in Paris,
Yeah.
and they talk about the pastry war, and he's like, I wonder if this is about me.
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
wife's like, no, not everything's about you.
Well, the
Yeah.
pastry, yeah, right. The pastry war was actually named that like 100 years later. Like, it wasn't like,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
whatever. But ultimately, peace was brokered by the British And without realizing it, the people of Florida dodged another conflict, all because of some donuts. And
I love that.
And
That's
a
crazy.
conflict. And here's what I love about the story, though, is that like, I mean, I think war is pretty petty to begin with,
Yeah.
in most accounts,
Ditto.
and I think folks will look back on our wars and go, "Well, wasn't that silly?" But I think what's so comical about this is the scale of the start is essentially a pastry shop, right?
Yeah.
And these soldiers are probably drunk, doing what they normally do. They come in, grab some eclairs, run out.
Yep.
This guy's like, "Well, now I'm out of business.
Yeah.
You know, my
Yeah,
overhead
I
was
just-
tight enough
yeah.
as it was." He goes home, never has plans to go back, complains because that's what French people do, and
Well,
then
I don't know if that's true.
hey, I made that up, but then an international conflict happens, and I think puts into perspective, like you were saying, the letters back and forth.
Okay.
We're not meant to know the amount of information we know these days.
Yep.
Because back in the day, you wouldn't know a conflict was happening unless you were drafted.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way you would. I mean,
True.
you know what I mean? Like the news traveled so slow.
Do you think
and
there's any wars that were stupid that America fought in?
all of them.
Yeah.
All of
yeah,
them?
yeah. I think World War II is the exception, but I think once you get past World War II, even one was ludicrous.
I don't think one. I think two, and then 9/11. But other than that, I don't.
I
The
feel
Korean
like we
War
were
and the
we
Vietnam
were
War,
off
I
a
don't
couple
know.
countries though.
But I
with
think
9/11.
sometimes it's more. I think it's all about pride. Like like you look at the Vietnam or the Korean War, it had no, it just was about like almost like you got to smack your little brother and like remind him
It's
who
it's
you
a
are,
pride
who's
thing
in
with,
charge.
with most leadership. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. And I think that's what's interesting is it's essentially like a board game, right? France loses all the property, and he goes, you know what, Florida's not worth it, but Mexico looks pretty easy.
Well, that was
Yeah.
what was crazy to me when you're telling the story. Because if and me as like an accounting guy, I'm thinking to myself, okay,
Yep.
he's gonna spend. He spent more than 600,000 moving all the troops over.
What's money to him?
To
Right,
then
yeah.
to then get paid his 600,000. I'm thinking he's getting land out of this or something. No, he just went back home. So
Yeah.
it's just
A
like I'm like
flex.
France was in a worse financial situation after that war.
Yeah.
It was just like
It's
we
all
stuck
pride.
it to you.
It's
Yeah.
all pride, dude.
Yeah.
All pride.
Yeah, and again, back to Florida officially becoming ratified as a state, like, you know, it just shows you how vulnerable the people here were for so long that countries were just like tossing Florida around like it was a play toy.
Yeah.
And then when they finally give up and give it to the U.S., the U.S. is like, we'll deal with it in 30 years.
Yep.
Like we own it now. We're gonna call it a territory, and everybody's like, oh, make it a state. Well, why would you gonna make it a state? It's problematic.
Yeah. it's
You know what I
garbage.
mean? And
And
so
now look at pioneering the ways of freedom now for the country.
that's right. But you know what? That wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
It really wasn't that long ago when we weren't a state. You know what I mean? Like, and people say
The good
Florida's
old days.
yeah, Florida's crazy, and it's like, yeah, we're still learning.
Yeah.
Like, and I think we're in a small window now with our leadership being kind of nutso. But I mean, like, you know, the people of Florida in general, for the most part, are decent human beings, and I think like we have such a beautiful history. And one thing that we can say is at least we haven't started a war over donut shop.
That's true. Well, I'm going to ask you guys a very controversial
Okay.
question.
Yes.
If Florida was a food, what food would it be?
That's such a great question, dude. And I have my answer already.
I have my answer. That's why I asked.
Okay.
Y'all can answer first. I'll come up with mine.
I think it might a fully loaded with olive Subway sandwich.
Wow. Because
Yeah.
you know you're getting bad times.
You're getting bad time,
Yeah,
bad tummies,
and not healthy.
low
Not-
quality meats.
Not like food that's still good. Not like ham that's still in
No,
season.
you're not getting boar's head.
Yeah. I would say Florida is a Slim Jim Nitro.
Yeah. Why that?
Just because it's just a bad time altogether.
I mean, here's the thing: it'll sustain you,
Yep.
but at what cost?
Yeah.
I think it's a
Life.
I think it's a Wawa sandwich.
Which one?
Any of the bad
A meatball?
experience- Any of the bad experiences because you're thinking, man, when you're buying it, you're like, this is a good decision. But then
Yes, it is.
after they bring it to you and it doesn't like the picture, you're like,
I think after the first bite,
yeah.
you're like, what am I doing with my
What do you
life?
think, as people that have covered Florida history, what do you think's the best thing that's ever happened to the state of Florida? As a non-resident or a non-native,
Mhm.
I think Walt Disney World is the reason Florida's on the map today.
I don't think it's just Walt Disney. I think tourism in general is a big part of it.
Yeah, I think it's Tuttle and Miami and
Miami's
asking
good.
Flagler to build a railroad down there.
Yeah.
I think that's what opened the
And,
state.
here's the thing. Here's what I know to be true. The folks who built Florida, and I'm not talking about like the rich whiteys. I'm talking about the folks who, like Tuttle, who he mentioned, who were like fighters. They were on the front lines. they were concerned with putting Florida on the map in a way that preserved the land and the people and the traditions. And that really is the spirit of Floridian still. We just had Craig Pittman on the show.
Yeah.
Wonderful Floridian who is on the front lines of economic and agricultural causes in our state. And to me, like those are the Floridians I think about.
Yeah.
Not the small number of people who are brainwashed and doing crazy stuff.
Yeah.
The people who are like, hey, the state is beautiful, let's preserve it. Like that's what makes Florida so great. Those folks. So
From an outsider looking in, I watched this movie with Johnny Depp about cocaine and hala, and that made it look.
We
like
covered that.
That got
Pirates of the Caribbean.
that made it look like that got Florida on the map.
Well, I tell you what got Florida on the map even greater recently was the Florida Man on Florida Man podcast. And if you want more of our show, it's patreon.com/FMOFM podcast.
Or come to Comic-Con.
Come to Comic-Con July 28th
Yes.
through the 30th. We're going to be there. And let me tell you, we're doing a special panel at 9:30 p.m. called Haunted Florida.
God.
It will scare your mama to death. If you want your family to live, don't come. But if you want your family to perish from fright, to be afraid,
Be there.
come see us.
If you got if you got a bad uncle you don't like,
That's
bring
right.
'em.
step uncle bring him.
Yeah.
That's right.
You got a bad heart.
That's
Yeah.
right. And so come see us. Tickets are on sale now. And for every ticket you buy,
You get access.
you get
to
access to us
to the show.
and a chance to win $400,000.
Well, I don't think that's true.
We love
I
you
just
so
wanna-
much. We will see you next time.
See ya.
That's so good.
Live stream, we love you. That was fun. Thanks for hanging out tonight. We're gonna go to bed because it's late. But Monday nights, that's new production night. We'll
Yeah.
see you next Monday at
How
7:30.
was it? Tell us.
Yes, let us know how it was.
Okay, good night.
Well done, bro.
I think
Alabama's got a lot of fun stuff.
bro, there's some bad stuff